Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and we are Unite Inside, and we help people unite with all the parts inside of them, live the life that they desire and fulfill their purpose. In this video, I am going to talk about guilt and how to release guilt, how to deal with guilt if you're a person that feels a lot of it, okay? The reason why this subject is very hard to discuss is because it's very hard to release guilt, especially if you're someone that feels a lot of it or has a lot of it. It could be hard to release it. Guilt is basically it's basically a judgment that you have towards yourself, and the judgment says that I am bad. Okay, so this is what the judgment says: that I am bad and that I did something bad. So it is a big judgment, okay? The judgment that we feel could be charged with other feelings, like feeling resentment towards the self, like feeling mad at ourselves, the feeling of being disappointed or let down by ourselves. It's a very difficult feeling to feel, especially because you're feeling it towards yourself, and most of the time it's very deep and charged with all the resentment and disappointment, to the point that you feel like you have a desire to punish yourself, literally. It can be as bad as wanting to punish ourselves because we want to be released from the guilt. Guilt is like a big burden on us. When we feel guilt, we feel like we have to fix something. We have to change something. We have to do something about it because we are responsible for it. It's our fault, is what guilt says. When you feel guilt, the guilt is telling you that you did something wrong and that you have to fix it, or at least that something has to be done so that you can be released from it, like a punishment, for example. And so most of the time, if you have a lot of guilt, if you're somebody that has a lot of guilt, you could be punishing yourself on a daily basis by not letting yourself be happy, by beating yourself up, by not believing that you deserve to be happy, and therefore not letting yourself be happy. A lot of times, when we are someone that deals with a lot of guilt, we could be suffering from a thing called the guilt trip trauma. What does it mean? The guilt trip trauma means that you have been guilt tripped a lot with one of your parents or your parents when you were a kid, constantly being blamed for their problems, for their mistakes, for everything that they did, constantly being throwing all their feelings and all their problems and all their trauma on you, and telling you that it is your responsibility, that you have to pick it up and that you have to fix it, that you have to do something about it. When someone constantly tells you that you're to blame for even the little things, for even taking up space or doing something that makes you happy, telling you that you're selfish, telling you that you need to think about them and that you need to consider them, as if you're not considering them every time you're considering yourself. It could really make you feel all this resentment and hate towards yourself, because it could create self-hate. Because at some point you feel like you're such a loser that everything that you do is a problem, that everything that you do is wrong. And so you start to beat yourself up. You start to tell yourself such a loser you are. You start to tell you feel so much madness because you feel like you're the reason why you're unhappy. You start to blame yourself because your parents were blaming you for their problems. You start to blame yourself for everything wrong around you and in other people's lives. So when this happens to you, you feel so much overwhelming guilt that you can feel guilty for literally existing. Just for the fact that you exist, you can feel a lot of guilt. You can feel bad, as if you don't deserve to exist, as if you don't deserve to be alive. okay? I had this trauma and it was very hard to let go of it because the guilt is so intense that you literally, it's so hard to release. You feel so bad about yourself. You feel like you're a bad person. You feel like you just want someone to tell you that you're okay. You just want someone to give you validation and tell you that you're fine and that you can exist and that everything about you is that your actions are fine. You really just want that validation because of how intensely guilty you feel from the inside. It can be very painful for you if you're someone that deals with this, and it can be very hard to snap out of it too. So that's why in this video, I am going to share with you 2 steps that you can take to release guilt from your energy field and from your emotional system, okay? Because guilt can be there. It can just be right there. I have explained to you what guilt really is and how it feels like in the body, and that it feels like resentment towards yourself, being mad at yourself, feeling bad, and feeling like you want to punish yourself, and all these feelings. Everything that I have mentioned to you falls into the category of self-hate and not really having any empathy towards yourself and not really having any compassion towards your being. And okay, so the first step that you're going to take is going to have something to do with compassion. It is very important that you understand that guilt is a judgment. When you are guilty or you feel like you're guilty about something, it's really because you are not understanding yourself in that moment. Instead, you are judging yourself and telling yourself that you're bad, okay? When you judge yourself instead of understanding why is it that you did what you did, okay? Instead of understanding that you had to do it, okay? And that instead of understanding that you didn't do this thing because you were bad, but when you try to dig deeper into your own intentions, into why you did what you did, and then you understand that intention, you can be less hard on yourself because then you understand why you did what you did, okay? And then you know that you're not actually a bad person. Well, all you have to do is to start learning how to understand yourself. It can be hard to learn how to do that, but the more you try, the more understanding you will become of yourself. As I said, guilt is the opposite of self-love, is the opposite of compassion and empathy. So the moment you have patience towards yourself and you have empathy and compassion, you can let yourself off the hook. When you're guilty and you're basically beating yourself up, it's like a form of being hard on yourself. It's not a form of being patient with yourself. It's not a form of understanding nor love, okay? Here, if you want to stop being guilty all the time, like I said, that the switch will be to start understanding yourself, okay? And also to start having that empathy and just like understanding that you're not bad and knowing that you're not bad. Because deep down you know that you're not a bad person, but you feel like you are, okay? So if you want to start to do this, you have to treat yourself with care. You have to treat yourself with love, and which means that you have to be your own best friend. If you want to stop feeling guilty all the time, you have to treat yourself with gentleness. It's the opposite of cruelness and treating yourself as if you're trash. And that's what you're doing when you're constantly feeling guilty. Because someone in your childhood made you hate yourself. Because they constantly pointed out how bad you are. It's so hard, I'm telling you. If someone is constantly pointing out how bad you are, how much of a horrible person you are, of course you're going to feel like you're a horrible person. But you need to develop the self-forgiving method. Okay? You have to start forgiving yourself, letting yourself off the hook, allowing yourself to make mistakes. Start to develop a loving container for your feelings and for yourself. Okay? You could be loving towards your other people more than yourself, but you can switch them up. You can become loving towards yourself, okay? Because I know that you could be someone that forgives people for unforgivable mistakes, but you hold yourself, you beat yourself up so much for such little mistakes, okay? And it's all because you don't have any love for yourself. So you have to develop love towards yourself by treating yourself with more care, by allowing yourself to have mistakes, by being okay with making mistakes, by letting yourself off the hook and being okay with yourself having mistakes. If you're okay with making mistakes, and if you understand yourself, and if you can be your own best friend, okay, it's gonna be very easy for you to let go and just start actually being less guilty, okay? To start feeling less guilty about stuff. You don't deserve to be constantly guilty about everything. You don't deserve to, not every mistake that you're gonna make, that you're gonna beat yourself up about it, okay? Because you're a human being, you're in this life and you're living, and of course you're gonna make mistakes. And sometimes you're gonna do things that are bad, and that's okay. And it doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You don't have to live a life where you're walking on eggshells with yourself and you're trying hard to keep yourself in check, trying hard to not be a bad person because you're so scared of turning out to be a bad person. This could be another thing, that you're probably very scared of turning out to be a bad person. So you make yourself, like, you always are checking in with yourself to see if you're doing something bad. You don't have to do that. You can just let yourself live, okay? The thing is, if you're someone that has so much guilt or has the guilt trip trauma, you could be someone that doesn't let themselves live because you never let yourself off the hook, and it's just such a bad life. So you need to learn how to let go, okay? Train yourself to shift your focus from your mistakes. Train yourself to shift your focus from negative things about yourself that you do. Train yourself to understand your own intentions when you do something, okay? Train yourself to stop judging yourself as bad, because you're not bad, okay? Notice it when you're judging yourself as bad, and just understand that you don't have to do that. You don't have to tell yourself that you're bad for the little things that you do, for the little small mistakes that you make. You don't have to say that you're a bad person for that. Train yourself to forgive yourself. If you have so much resentment towards yourself, you have to start forgiving yourself. You have to learn self-forgiveness, okay? If you want to forgive yourself, again, it all comes to understanding why you did what you did and having compassion towards yourself. Like, let me give you an example to how you can have compassion for yourself for something that is bad that you actually did, okay? I'm gonna give you an example for that, and it could be an actual bad thing that you did. Let's say that you stole something from someone and you have so much guilt about it and you feel really bad. How do you forgive yourself about it? Ask yourself, why did I steal this thing? I stole it because I felt like I never have nice things, and so I don't have enough money to have nice things. For example, if that's your story, and then you can tell I'm not telling you to give yourself excuses to the bad things that you do, but I'm telling you to release guilt and have compassion for yourself, so that I'm telling you to, like, learn how to have compassion for yourself, so that you can actually take responsibility, so that you can actually change your bad actions, okay? So you can tell yourself, why did I do that? Oh, because I believe that I never have good things, so that's why I stole that thing from them. And you can start becoming compassionate of the fact that you believe these facts about yourself, and that this is your life, and that this is what you believe about yourself. Let me give you another example that isn't necessarily about something bad that you did. It could be that you, let's say that you were happy and just having fun and just like enjoying your life, and then your parent told you that you're a piece of crap and that you should not do this and that you shouldn't be happy because they're sad, okay? Or because they're not having a good day, that you shouldn't enjoy yourself. And now in this situation, as someone that has guilt trauma, you might actually feel guilty, okay? So how do you handle this situation? You can just tell yourself, I deserve to be happy. I needed to be happy in that position. I needed to be happy. I needed to feel fun. Start to be on your side more, okay? The guilt that you feel is because you're not on your side. That's why I said to be your own best friend. It's because so that you can develop a good relationship with yourself, so that like you tend to stand up for yourself more when someone is like trying to guilt trip you. You can say, no, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to smile. I'm happy that I made myself happy. I deserved it. Also, if you want to learn to have compassion for yourself, you have to just treat yourself like you are your own child, okay? If you are your own child, would you feel guilty for making yourself happy? Would you feel guilty, or would you feel happy because your child is happy? This is what I mean with it. If you develop a good relationship with yourself, a nice one, a beautiful connection with yourself, that you start to treat yourself like your own lover. And then when people are outside of you trying to guilt trip you, you can just stand up with yourself, because you deserve to live. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve to be loved, okay? And you just, and the most important thing is that you deserve to give yourself all of that, okay? You deserve to give yourself the peace that you want. You deserve to give yourself the happiness that you want. You deserve to give yourself the good timing that you need and that you deserve, okay? So you need to give it to yourself, and you can give it to yourself. But the thing is, we can't make ourselves happy. We can't let ourselves be happy if we have so much guilt, because we feel so bad that we feel like we deserve to stay in this low, horrible, negative situation. And that parent that used to be abusive, they wanted you to be sad. They wanted you to feel incredibly horrible and broken, because they felt incredibly horrible and broken, because they felt bad and sad. And whenever you felt happy, they felt jealous. They wanted you to just like be sad like them, okay? And no, you don't deserve to be sad like them, because you didn't do anything to be sad, okay? And they can take responsibility for why they're sad, and they can make themselves happy too, okay? So let me tell you this. You deserve to be happy, and you can give it to yourself, and you can let yourself be happy. Start making yourself happy. Start letting yourself smile. Let yourself be happy. Smile and be happy. Be energetic and be on your own side. Learn to stand up for yourself on your own side, okay? And that's how you're gonna be less guilty of doing things that make you happy, less guilty of being yourself. Let's say that you're taking up space and being yourself, and someone is like, don't do this, don't be yourself, you don't deserve to be yourself, whatever energy they're giving you, and you started to feel guilty. No, tell yourself, I deserve to sit in this place and have my own freedom and have my own space. I deserve it. Of course I do. I deserve to be in this place. Okay? So the second thing that you're gonna do to start releasing guilt and learning how to like get rid of guilt from your life and live guilt-free is to it's very important to start supporting yourself while you feel the guilt, while you experience it. As I said, feeling is healing, and so if you have so much guilt, you have to meditate and just let yourself feel it and be with it. Be with the guilt and be like your observer, like you are the observer of the guilt, okay? Like the guilt is an entity that is inside of you, and you are observing how guilty this entity feels. And like learn to separate your mind from your feelings. I have made a video about that, you can check it out. And so learn to do that so that you can observe your guilt while thinking about it as if it's an entity, and you can just be with your guilt. And the more you are being with your guilt, you're trying to interact with your guilt, you're trying to ask it questions, You're trying to look at it as if you love it, as if it's a part of you that is a broken part of you that hurt, a part of you that's hurting, a part of you that you're going to develop compassion towards and going to help feel better. And you're like looking at it and looking at how bad it feels, and you're like developing this connection and this by asking it questions and by just letting it be there and being with it, okay? Sitting with it. You can journal, you can write down how you feel, how guilty you feel. You can write down how bad you feel and just like release it. You can even cry if you want to. It can be very intense that you can cry. And yes, you can cry. You can tell yourself, you can express to yourself how you feel. I feel so bad. I feel like I'm a bad person. I feel like I don't deserve to exist right now. I just feel so much guilt. Just like express, and come into terms with it. If you want to heal something, you have to come into terms with it. You have to look at it and you have to like interact with it and you have to let it be in front of you by allowing yourself to feel it instead of suppressing it, okay? So while you're feeling the guilt, allow it to be there and feel it and support yourself while you're feeling it and give yourself the compassion and the love that you need while you're feeling it. And this is how you release guilt from your life, okay? So this video came to an end. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share it with friends that want to release the guilt trip trauma. I love you so much. And leave a comment and a thumbs up if you like this video. I will see you in the next video. I love you. I hope that you live guilt-free.